Welcome black to In Black America Radio with your host Rasta B. It is Friday, June 12th, 9:04, and today's title is In Black America Radio. It's time to beat the economy war drum. So that's what our show's primarily going to be about today. Guest calling number is 516-531-9992. And before I continue, let's bring in my co-host, Smoke. Smoke, you there?
Yo, what's good?
What's good, man? What's good?
Shit, man. Big Friday. Back in the building trying to get my damn computer straightened out. But other than that, shit, ready to go.
Yeah, man. So, another Friday, but, we halfway through the year. And 2020 been a
almost at midpoint.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year.
Every month is something. Each month outdoes the previous month.
Then we're getting closer and closer too, because now we get into election time. That's less than 6 months.
Yeah, what's that, like November, around that time?
Yeah, 5 more months.
Yeah, we're gonna see, because there's a lot of political shit that's happening. It's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, I think the court's still the same.
Me too.
Still the same. But,
me too. I'm not. They can't fool me.
We're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, they can't fool me. I don't care what's going on. You're not gonna fool me. So, you heard any? Well, today's show really gonna be focused around economy. We gotta delve back into that. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, I don't know why we have to keep talking about economy. You would think at this stage of the game, especially in 2020, you would think that we don't need to keep talking about economy. You would think that it's understood why. But my lady told me the other day she understood it when she seen something interesting on Rasta.
What was that?
She was saying how she was looking at a video of a black man who was on I guess he was a black business owner, and apparently the property owner, who was white, saw him or said he saw him at a rally, Black Lives Matter rally, and how he didn't want to be associated with Black Lives Matter or any with the protesting. So he wasn't going to renew the lease, and how he was all begging and but I'm a black-owned business owner, and
Right.
I'm sorry, boss, give me all that, and that's when she looked at him and was like, wow, that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, And I told her, I said, the real fucked up part about it is that same black person, if you would have asked that person, if you would have told that person, yo, man, we got to have, our own economy, man, but we're not, dependent on other races, that black person would have told you they don't believe in what you're saying and would have told it the relationship that he have with the white building owner, and how the white building owner might have looked out for him on rent a month and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? And now you crying. An example for me. Oh, all right, go ahead. I'll break down in a second.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, we could assume that, but like what it definitely tells you is like you can't really fight hard for your freedom if you tied into other people or into the people that you're trying to get freedom from. So I mean, he went down there, thought that he was supporting the cause, and rightfully so. To come back home to say, "Oh, you lost your business." That's how it works when when you under the when you are controlled by the economy of your oppressor, how hard can you fight? And so it's like a bunch of people that are sitting on the sidelines because they in those situations. They probably understood that in the beginning, like, hey, I don't want to do that. Then you got people that's out here losing losing their business or losing their job because they got spotted down there. Somebody told on them. You know how it go. So it's like when you tied into it, how hard can you fight for your freedom? So that's why what we be saying as far in terms of building an economy is overly important because you can't even go hard.
At all. You can't go hard. You can't have a real open opinion. You can't have that honest discussion because you're afraid that somebody's going to be like, Dennis, is that you? I heard this guy on this show in Black America Radio, and he sound like you, Dennis. And I'm like, huh? In Black America Radio? Nah, master. I don't know nothing about blackness. I just work, get my check, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we're put into that position. And then what will happen is, what do we scream? Look how that racist white man who owned the business, who owned the building, that this suffering black business owner, look at the conditions he have to work in. Look how this white person who owns the building, look how he just won't renew his lease and all kind of shit. But we never say, if that's the problem, what's the solution? The solution should be have your own. But we don't tend to say that, right? All we like to do is highlight the solution, right? I mean the problem, right? And let me go pull up this Booker T. Washington quote. Yes, the Booker T. Washington quote that I will be reading all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because it's such a very important. Such a very important quote. I put a quote? No, this one I got a quote. This one is got Booker T. Washington quotes. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So he have all right here. Here it goes. So the quote is: "There is a class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardship of the Negro race before the public, having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles. They have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because he does not want to lose his income." And that shit is such a strong statement because when you understand that, then you understand why we're talking about the same shit 40 years later, 60 years later. You know what I'm saying? 100 years later.
I mean, them the people that we call coons. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally the people we call a coon. Like somebody who just gonna do that shit for the bread. They understand what it is, but that's the outcome of that. You know, that happens when you don't have an economy. You have people that's gonna stick to the script of whoever they working for, so they can just ensure they bread. You know what I mean? That's we gonna call them a coon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, their allegiance is to the person that's paying them and allowing them to take care of their family.
Right.
So now, because it's another race, they're coons, and they're coons not because of their character. They're coons because of what they have to do to continue to feed their family. So the best example to me would be Hoodlum and brother Clarence something the third, the one with the wild hair, He's the one in Hoodlum where not Dutch Schultz. One of them white boys was telling him that he want the other piece of the pastrami sandwich. He like, nah. He's like, no, wrap it up. You know what I'm saying? And take it home to your family. And you know what I'm saying? Don't be proud. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
it's just like, so what happened is he kicking ass. He kicking the black people ass, white boys. So, Lawrence Fishburne's character, he goes and he tells them like, yo, how can you sleep at night? Y'all used to run, y'all used to control Harlem. Now the white boys got it. So he tells them, how you know I'm sleeping? So in all essence, he was cool. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't even comfortable with it. But that's what had to happen in order to feed his family. And what we don't understand is every time we do something in order to feed our family, like when that's your reasoning, I'm doing this to feed my family, we're talking about economy. That's what we're talking about. And if you have to do something treacherous to feed your family, then that means you have a weak economy. If I have to rob and steal to feed my family, that means I have a weak economy or non-existent. If I have to sell my body to feed my family, that means I have a weak economy. I'm not existent. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of shit that's what we don't understand. You know what I'm saying? We think that money is what economics, and that's what rules economics. That's why we never talk economy. We always say economics. We have to control our economics. We have economic power in all these different terms, but you don't have none of that without an economy. So now we have the situation, Smoke, in Chicago. Just to get back into Chicago, because Chicago is what is it called? A microcosm of really the conditions that we're in. So what happened is in Chicago, the blacks and the Latinos is going to war, right? So if the blacks and the Latinos going to war, a black person from a particular organization decided to go into that neighborhood and lick shots to gun a couple of their guys. You know what the Latino said, Smoke, that was interesting to me? Well, I'm going to tell you what the black said first. That was interesting to me. The black said, any of y'all bitch-ass Latinos, Hispanics, Mexicans, that come out of your neighborhood, basically, and come into our neighborhood, we're going to gun at y'all niggas on sight. Bang, bang. You know what the Latino said, Smoke?
What?
The Latino said, okay, y'all all feeling good, celebrating now because y'all done broke and stole a couple of shit. Y'all ain't feel nothing yet. Wait until that money run out. Wait until that food run out. And you got to go to the grocery store to get food again. And you got to go into our neighborhoods. We will run you out.
Chess versus checkers.
You see what I'm saying? Chess versus checkers. You have one set of people who's thinking about today and how I feel today. And if I see you today, I'm going to shoot you today. And you got another set of people that say, yeah, you feel something similar today. And you got the numbers today. And you got that energy today. And you can shoot and kill me today. What about next week?
Wow.
What about next week? What about next year? When you need my economy in order to eat, to clothe yourself, and to shelter yourself. We're not ready for this war. We're not ready for this fight. We're not ready for this battle. That's why I said 2 shows ago, the only thing that black people could do is shut the fuck up and rebuild. I don't care if a white person said, hey, nigga, come and get your bags. The only thing you can say is, okay. It sounds fucked up. Guess what? We're in a fucked up reality. We're not in a reality of strength. We're in a reality of weakness. What happens is, this is the most dangerous part. We're in a reality of weakness. We got people keep propping us up and telling us how strong we are. So now you got a bunch of us walking around here with our chests out, beating on the chest and shit like that, like we're tough. We're not tough. So now all of these weaknesses have to and get slaughtered. You see? We're so strong, Smoke, that we're openly saying how much we need white supremacy in order to beat white supremacy. That's how weak we are. That we literally say we need white supremacy in order to beat white supremacy. And for people that's saying we need white supremacy in order to beat white, what are you talking about, Rasta B? Whenever you hear black people say we need whites and non-whites to speak for us, they're saying these people are supreme. Anytime they say we need them to be our ally, they're telling you these people are supreme. When they tell you, you have to explain it to them because they don't know. You have to educate them because they don't know.
The creators of that shit.
Creators.
The creators of racism. You gotta explain that shit to them.
You have to explain to them what it is because they don't know. What you're saying is these people are supreme. When you say God ordained this, you're saying they're supreme. When you're saying anything other than, you're saying that they're supreme. Because you know damn well you can't do it on your own. So since you can't do it on your own, who do you need? Somebody stronger. Who is that? White people. Oh, excuse me. My bad, Smoke. Friendly white people. That's what we need. We need friendly white people. We need white people that voted for Obama. Even though they're the ones calling police on black men watching birds in the trees in Central Park, but those are our allies. Key and Pell, whatever his name is, then didn't show you the movie Get Out. He ain't show you that. So y'all still run to them as your allies. Because you need white supremacy to beat white supremacy. When you are powerless people. You're telling one set of white people, we want your set of white supremacy. We don't want their set of white supremacy. We want your set of racism. We don't want their set of racism. We want your set of oppression. We don't want their set of oppression. That's all you hear black people saying. When you listen deep, Mo. That's what you hear.
That's what I'm saying. Then you giving white people the impression you really just powering their asses up. Powering up their ego and shit like that. You got white people coming on, like, we have to do this, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, they hold the key to this shit. Mm-hmm. It'd be hard for me to watch TV right now. Seriously. It's hard for me to watch TV and scroll through social media without getting annoyed. Because it's like, motherfuckers over here begging. You got a few white people that, hey, do you guys want to help? Yeah, y'all want to really do this? You want to help them? You know what I'm saying? It's like they almost like taunting us in a way. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
Rob, I hear
you.
Quiet.
Now I'm about to shut it down. Next one.
All right, Risha, come on. Yeah. You said what?
Nah, it's just like saying, man. It's hard to watch TV, man. It's hard to watch
this
shit because it's almost like, it's almost like it's an overall theme of begging on our part, and then you get the mixed reactions on the white community side. You got some people that ain't saying nothing. We begging them to say something. Oh, your silence is indicating that you're not with. It's like a bunch of that. We begging the people who not talking to talk. We done bang some people into submission to where they gotta talk, and then they're gonna just give a bullshit statement. Oh, we're with the black community, and then you got people that's talking and like the ones that are actually there, like, we're with you guys, and you know what I'm saying? It's just like, all right, whatever, I hear you. It's just like a bunch of begging, and to me, it's like it's sad, but it's like it all goes down to the fact that we depend on them. So this is where all this shit is coming from, and it's like we don't really realize that. We got to just take a step back and look at that and solve that issue. So to me, it's just like the overall message of, I don't know, man. It's sad and shit, you know what I mean?
But that's why I said the overall message, we got to rebuild our economy. That's it. See, we made a mistake. We're not supposed to read the mistakes of the past, and then keep doing it out of tradition. Because our ancestors did it, so we must continue to do it now. No. That makes zero sense. We're supposed to learn. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to learn. Like, for example, I'm reading. Where do we go from here? The Martin Luther King joint. You know what I'm saying? And they start talking about why King wasn't really into the whole issue with the whole black power and all that shit like that, right? So I just want to expound on that real quick. Just to show you how we follow the backwards shit doesn't work, and we continue to do it. We don't sit there and say, we tried that, but it don't work. Let's try something different. So he goes, the Black Power movement of today, like the Garvey Back to Africa movement of the 1920s, represents a dashing of hope, a conviction of the inability of the Negro to win, and a belief in the infinitude of the ghetto. While there is much grounding in past experience for all of these feelings, a revolution cannot succumb to any of them today. Today's despair is a poor chisel to carve out tomorrow's justice. Black power is an implicit and often explicit belief in black separatism. That's the first mistake. You see that, Smoke? That's the first mistake of King and the people who thought like King. We're not supposed to carry this on through tradition. We're supposed to change. He thinks...
Update.
Right, we're supposed to update it. He's looking at black power as a belief in black separatism. Separatism, yes, but not separatism as a whole. If anything that's separate when it comes to black power and we're talking about black separatism, we're speaking more when it comes to culture,
Wow.
where black people can develop their culture separate from other groups and honor and cherish our culture separate from other groups.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That part is definitely separate. Where our economy is separate from other groups, right? While functioning within society and other groups, economy. But it's still separate in the sense that we understand and recognize why we have an economy, the purpose of it, and that we're all working together to strengthen it.
Right.
See what I'm saying? But when it comes to black separatism, as in this is black, everybody that's not black stay out. No. What that is white people's what white people done to black people and black people who think like white people and are angry like white people end up developing a black version of white separatism, if that makes sense what I said. So these black people that's like white people, when whites say let's separate, they say let's separate. When whites say, you know what I'm saying, let's do this, then they say, but let's do this, a black version of that. They don't count. When we're speaking about legacy, we're speaking about building the black race. We're speaking about economy. Why? We speak about economy due to the fact that we live in a capitalistic society. We don't live in a socialistic society, so we should not have a socialistic plan. We don't live in a communistic society, so we should not have a communistic plan. You know what I'm saying? We live in a capitalistic society. So we should have
something that's gonna work.
That's gonna work
within this shit. Yeah.
Exactly. Because what's the point? What's the point of living in a society, but then you're looking at somebody else's society and say, my war or my war is gonna be to change this society's structure. No, this is the structure.
Yeah, chess strategy don't work in checkers.
Exactly. You can't jump the queen. You know what I'm saying? That might have been a great play in checkers, but not in chess. You know what I'm saying? So then it goes. Notice that I do not call it black racism. It is inaccurate to refer to black power as racism in reverse, as some has recently done. Racism is a doctrine of the congenial inferiority and worthlessness of a people. While a few angry proponents of black power have, in moments of bitterness, made wild statements that come close to this kind of racism, the major proponents of black power have never contended that the white man is innately worthless. So even King acknowledges the sentiment, the attitude, and its limits, really. You know what I'm saying? So he understands the rhetoric and things, and these rhetorics were going on during King's time, right? But you got to understand that rhetoric will be deemed radical. That rhetoric would be deemed radical, where King is not radical. King is American. He's black American. He's followed the rules. He's equality and being part of the system. You know what I'm saying? He's not radical in that sense. You know what I'm saying? So, but this is still the talks going on during this time. Right? Okay. So now it goes. Yet behind black power's legitimate and necessary concern for group unity and black identity lies the belief that there can be a separate black road to power and fulfillment. Right, which that dream isn't far-fetched. There have to be a separate black road to get us where we're going, unless you believe that other groups of people want you to succeed also. Yet, so it says, few ideas are more unrealistic. There is no salvation for the Negro through isolation. Because once again, when we think about us doing for self, we think isolation. So you done heard separatism for black power, you done heard isolation for black power. You see what I'm saying? This is why we don't want to, we don't have these conversations about rebuilding our economy. What and if anyone listening don't believe me, have a conversation about rebuilding our economy, and I guarantee you, people start to say the same rhetoric that's in this book I'm reading about separatism, how we can depend just on. You're gonna hear it. One of the chief affirmations of black power is to call for the mobilization of political strength for black people. But we do not have to look far to see that effective political power for Negroes cannot come through separatism. Granted that there are cities and counties in the country where the Negro is in a majority. They are so few that concentration they are so few that concentration on them alone would still leave the vast majority of Negroes outside the mainstream of American political life. Just like I said, Smoke, King isn't radical. He's mainstream. He wants to be part of the system. He wants to be part of the American structure. He don't want the upliftment of black people, right? And what I'm saying this speaking off to what's being written now, currently. He wants America to be an even playing field for everyone. And us as black people, we're Americans that just so happen to be black. Just like you have Latinos that just so happen to be dark skinned. You dig what I'm saying, Smoke? That's how they want black Americans. They want us to be Americans without the race. So then it can be, like how we look at Latinos. And then you be like, yo, you know there's black Peruvians, right? You know there's black Mexicans, right? But you're not going to say black Mexicans or Afro. You're going to say Mexican. So Mexican circumference everybody, and you have an idea of what a Mexican is or what a Peruvian is. But you don't. So then you forget there's black people there. So then you end up looking at America and what American is and who Americans are. So then what happens to the 13, 14, 15% of the population that's black? We're not the majority. So are we represented in this talk? You see what I'm saying? Are we just a face while everybody else? So this is what happened with the mainstream talk. When you're talking about black upliftment and empowerment, black people rising, we're not being subjugated to crime and poverty. We're elevating ourselves. In another 50 years, we're no longer on the bottom ring of society. There's a lot of people that don't want that. You will be amazed how many people that we think is down with and for the black cause, they're not. So I'm going to read it again. There is a class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles, they have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because he does not want to lose his income. So I gotta keep reading it. Yeah, I gotta keep reading it because we have to realize all these people out here talking all this pro-black shit, they're not speaking about the betterment, upliftment, and the strengthening of the black race in America. They're talking about making America more of an even playing field for everyone type talk. They don't see the vision. So it goes, separatism. Granted that there are cities, American political life. Okay. Outside of the 80, okay, that's the, let me get out of this. Let's go to the next page. Alright, so then it goes like this. Just as, alright, so it goes, the relevant Negro congressman from the South. Okay. Moreover, any program that elects all black candidates simply because they are black and rejects all white candidates simply because they are white is politically unsound and morally unjustified. It is true that in many areas of the South, Negroes still must elect Negroes in order to be effectively represented. SNCC staff members are eminently correct when they point out that in Lawndale County, Alabama, there are no white liberals or moderates and no possibilities for cooperation between the races at the present time. But the Lawndale County experience cannot be made a measuring rod for the whole of America. The basic thing in determining the best candidate is not his color but his integrity. Black power alone is no more insurance against social injustice than white power. Negro politicians can be as opportunistic as their white counterparts if there is not an informed and determined constituency demanding social reform. What is most needed is a coalition of Negroes and liberal whites that will work to make both major parties truly responsive to the needs of the poor. Black power does not envision or desire such a program. Just as the Negro cannot achieve political power in isolation, neither can he gain economic power through separatism. While there must be a continued emphasis on the need for blacks to pool their economic resources and withdraw consumer support from discriminating firms, we must not be oblivious to the fact that the larger economic problem confronting the Negro community will only be solved by federal programs involving billions of dollars. One unfortunate thing about black power is that it gives priority to race precisely at a time when the impact of automation and other forces have made the economic question fundamental for black and whites alike. In this context, a slogan, "Power for Poor People," would be much more appropriate than the slogan, "Black Power." Now, Smoke, that part there I thought was interesting because King, again, he's not living in the reality that we live in now. Dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
He don't live in our reality. So he's living in a dream. He's living in the right. You know what I'm saying? So in his dream, it doesn't matter if this politician is white or black. They will still represent their district equally. And it doesn't matter if this thing is black or white or that thing is black or white. But what happened is the counterbalance is when you start to think you're the problem, your skin's the problem, then every decision you make becomes off. Every time he spoke about black power, he spoke about it as separatism, isolation. You're only worrying about black. Like, that's a problem. So once he executed the plan for white America to open up its gates and allow black America and the black economy to spread, everybody followed what King was saying. So if I'm a black person and I see a black dentist and I see a white dentist, I am going to be more inclined to go to the white dentist, because how else am I going to know if King's dream was fulfilled unless I go to the white dentist? If that makes sense, Smoke. You know what I'm saying?
No, I got you.
If I'm saying, that's like if a woman, like, let's take it out of race. Let's put it for sexism. If a woman goes to a woman doctor, gynecologist, and because of her protection, and then the laws come out saying that a man cannot sexually assault a woman or whatever, you know what I'm saying, at a gynecologist office. How is she going to know if any of that's true unless you go to a man gynecologist?
Test the water.
You have to test the water. So if these women now stop going to the woman gynecologist and go to the man gynecologist to see if the country is still as sexist as before, what happened to the woman gynecologist? They end up running out of business. That's why I could never understand, Smoke. Why is it that black people go to a white business and the white business treat them a certain way, and then we scream racism? But then if we go to a black business, and the black business treats us a certain way, then we scream horrible customer service, and then say that's why we don't fuck with black business. And I always say to myself, we should do that in reverse. We should go to the white business, and when they give us horrible service, we shouldn't say it's racism. We should say, this white business, or every time I go to a white business, it always gives me bad customer service. That's why I don't fuck with white business, because they give me bad customer service. And then when we go to a black business, and the black business gives you bad customer service, and they're late and all kind of shit and rude and all kind of shit like that, and then what we need to do is protest in front of the black business and demand that they treat us with respect, and demand that they treat the black customers. You know what I'm saying? We should do that in reverse. But we don't. Why? Because if I go to a black restaurant, how do I know if racism is over in this country? If I live in a black community, how do I know if racism is eradicated in the country? If I teach blackness, how am I going to know? I'm not going to know unless I live amongst whites. I'm not going to know unless I go to school amongst whites. I'm not going to know unless I'm dating a bunch of whites. I'm not going to know unless I'm patronizing their economies and stuff like that. That's the only way to test the water, to see how they're acting. And because that's our job now, that's why we never took the time to rebuild our economy. That's how I see it, Smoke.
Don't get no realer than that.
That's how I see it.
Don't get no realer than that.
Because everything
That's
dealing
the
with black,
reality.
everything mentioned when it comes to blackness is negative. Separatism, isolation. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like.
But the one thing about everything that you're saying is like honesty. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing that we gotta have as a community is honesty. We gotta be honest with ourselves for where we at, who's leading us, I mean, even down to like on a personal level. You know what I mean? You got to reassess what you're doing personally and make sure you're doing this correctly. You know, getting your money in order, things like that. But we also got to reassess who's leading us, because we've been doing this same song and dance for the last 60 years at least. Then, you know, the people that's leading us, you know, we got to definitely take a strong, hard look at that. But it takes honesty. A lot of times, a lot of what you're seeing is like we understand our predicament, but then it's like we don't want to understand the part that we playing in it. And I think that's, you know, that's really what's missing from all the talk. It's like the things that we could be doing, and it might not be a talk for it. Well, it's not a talk for the public. It's for things that we got to do amongst ourselves, amongst black people. We don't got to go in the media and social media and do all that shit and bash each other on what we should be doing and shit. These are talks you have amongst your family. Again, it's an individual level, then it's a community level. You know what I'm saying? It's like things that when we really having talks amongst ourselves, we got to be honest about that shit. What we say in the media was whatever, you know what I'm saying? But we got to be honest amongst ourselves. And you don't really hear that when you're talking to our people, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, it's basically it's just lacking, you know what I mean, that honesty.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times that's because a lot of us is ingrained with the ideology that black power are talking that black shit. You know how we do. That's some militant, separatist, hate of another race ideology. So we'd run away from it but then all of our questions deals with it. Just like I said, no economy, because black people don't have an economy, that's why we deal with everything that we deal with in this country. That's why we deal with everything that we deal with in this world. Because we have no economy. If we had an economy, majority of the shit that we deal with will be eliminated. Eliminated. We're not dealing with problems. We're dealing with byproducts of not having an economy. Now I'm gonna keep reading, Smoke. Now watch this right here, though.
Right.
Watch this shit right here.
Good.
So now he goes. However much we pool our resources and quote unquote buy black, this cannot create the multiplicity of new jobs and provide the number of low-cost houses that will lift the Negro out of the economic depression caused by centuries of deprivation. Neither can our resources supply quality integrated education. All of this requires billions of dollars, which only an alliance of liberal labor civil rights forces can stimulate. In short, the Negro's problem cannot be solved unless the whole of American society take a new turn towards greater economic justice. So that's once again he's saying everybody. He right there said what? And this one makes me laugh. Because King said it and we say it to this day now. It goes, the number of low-cost houses that will lift the Negro out of the economic depression. How did you get out of economic depression? With an economy. How did you create multiplicities of jobs, of new jobs, an economy? How do you provide the low housing? Economy. So while we're pulling our money together and buying black, it will provide multiple jobs. It will provide the housing, and it will lift us out of our condition. Why? Because we have an economy, not a store. We have an economy. We control industry. We're not supposed to cry about there not being affordable housing in the black communities. We're supposed to have control over the housing in the black communities. I don't want to hear shit about no banks because there's black banks. I don't want to hear shit about no banks because there's credit unions. I don't want to hear shit about no banks because a lot of us can get a loan from a bank. A lot of us just don't know what the hell to do with the money when we get it. So I don't want to hear about that bank myth bullshit. You know what I'm saying, Smoke? We doing the reverse of Booker T. Washington. We're not highlighting our troubles and our wrongs and hardship. Fuck that shit. We already know what it is, right? So then we need to work around that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we gotta
even
work around that.
when you using that same example, we laugh at people who circumvent that same shit when they live together. We laugh at the Mexicans. Oh, look at all of them in the house.
No. Say that again. Say that shit again. You say that shit again.
We laugh at the people who know how to circumvent that same issue. So it's like we
Wait, what's the
joke.
issue?
We poke at them.
What's the issue?
Not having affordable housing.
Oh,
not
so
having bank loans.
So that's the reason why they stay in them apartments, in them houses? That's why they be packed up like that? Because they're dealing with no affordable housing too?
Yep.
Oh, ain't that a bitch?
Until they change their reality.
And then they got a problem, and they found the solution was to pack up inside the fucking apartments and stack got you. Go ahead, Smoke.
Yeah, found the whole way around it. You know what I'm saying? So we so
look,
like...
I ain't mean to cut you off. You left off.
No, you good.
We laughed. Look, I ain't mean to cut you off. You left off at we laugh at people who figured out how to beat the park.
We all been there where we joke on them. You know, we see them, a bunch of them sharing a car. You know, you see the neighbors. You like, look at all of them over there, packed up in that house. We all done did it, but then they gone 2 years from there. You don't know where they at now. They moved in a bigger house, or they got something else. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like having a plan and executing it, and not being so caught up in like, you know, the worldly possessions. You know, buying shit, Gucci, you know, fucking the latest car. You know, shit like that. That really ain't helping us at all. You know what I'm saying? We could have a plan and be able to work around them. So a lot of times those just turn out to be excuses because you see other people with less resources do the same shit. And it's like you're looking for someone to, you know what I'm saying, to hand it out. When we the biggest hustlers, you always hear black people talking about hustling. So those should be things that we figuring out and busting them out. You know what I'm saying? Those should be easy things to work around. But it's just like we're not really on our hustle. You know what I mean? We just want to be dependent on, and that's the position we're in. We are dependent on other societies, other economies in order to make our money. That's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? And we got to be smarter to move around that. You know what I'm saying? So even if it take, you know, being less materialistic, you know what I'm saying? Not spending so much money on, you know, excessiveness. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't even know if it's recording, but yeah, we gotta take a step back, humble ourselves, and really be honest with what's happening in the community within ourselves, and really work from there. But our number one issue is not having an economy, and until we work to build that up, we won't be in the same situation. Unfortunately, we gotta wisen up. Yeah, I don't know what happened with Rasta B. His line disconnected, but I did have an article that I wanted to read that we were talking about earlier, or earlier during the weekday. So, and it's about the NYPD. I just lost it. All right. NYPD lieutenant apologizes to colleagues for kneeling during the protest. You remember earlier this week you saw, the cops, the NYPD cops kneeling with the protesters, and it was such a epic moment, so to speak. And you saw a lot of us take that in as if that was like a gesture of unity with the police. And so it says, a lieutenant with the New York Police Department who knelt alongside George Floyd protesters apologized for doing so in an email to his colleagues, writing, "The cop in me wants to kick my own ass."
Wait. Let's analyze that. So this cop kneeled to show solidarity with protesters who was protesting against police brutality. And after doing that, he apologized to the other cops, right? And said the police and him wanted to practice police brutality on him for showing support at a no police brutality protest. I'm trying to make sure I didn't say that too. I ain't confusing myself. So this is a no police brutality protest. This is an anti-police brutality protest. He showed solidarity against police brutality, and then the inner cop in him wanted to commit brutality on him for showing support against police brutality, and nobody think these cops are just fucking insane. I wanted to beat my own ass. I wanted to choke my own self out when I saw what I did. You know how them ignorant ass cops talk. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, they say this shit, and it's like, yo, who's writing the line for this fucking TV show that we're watching? You wanted to commit brutality on yourself at a fucking rally against police brutality. This shit is amazing. Like, it writes itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, goddamn.
That's crazy, man.
Like, what would make you say that? Like, God.
That violence is built in them cats, man. That shit is built in them. They ready to go. On call. Always on call to kick somebody in, including their own. Yeah, kick his own out. But it was in a June 3rd email obtained by NBC New York, the officer, Lieutenant Robert Catani, that his kneeling with protesters goes against every principle and value that I stand for. Quote, unquote.
Wow.
Catani was among at least 4 officers who submitted to demonstrators' chants of NYPD take a knee during a May 31st protest in Lower Manhattan, according to the New York Post, which first reported the email. The police lieutenant told his colleagues in the email that he had trouble sleeping after he made, quote, a horrible decision to give into a crowd of protester demands and kneels alongside several other officers. The symbolic pose gained prominence in 2016 after Colin Kaepernick, then quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And this is going on to talk about Colin Kaepernick and how the whole kneeling thing started. But it's pretty much, this cop saying that, yeah, I know what y'all saw, but it was the wrong thing I did. I did the wrong thing. He's over here pretty much letting his family know, that was the wrong thing. So you can understand the pressures when they say it's a good cops and shit like that. You understand that they all pressure each other to shut the hell up when they doing negative shit. So it ain't no such thing as a good cop. He showed that gesture, and had people there thinking, oh, whatever, and he immediately turn back around like, hey, I know I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? They pressured me into doing it. I was there. I was, it was just part of the moment. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much is what he's saying. I fell victim to the moment.
Yeah. That's why you can't take none of this shit serious, man.
Yeah, I love police, so.
You got to.
Yeah, I love them.
You got to. And you gotta love America, because again, they tell you who they are, yo. They tell you who they are. I'm gonna show you something else, Smoke. All of those immigrants that was fighting against blacks, mainly Latinos and Asians, fighting against blacks, right? Who's protesting against police brutality. Are we to believe that they're voting against Trump? Right? Are we to believe that? Who do we think they gonna vote for? Those are Trump supporters. We don't even fucking realize that shit. Those are Trump supporters. If the police are Trump supporters, who do you think the business owners are voting for? These same business owners who had to shut down during Corona, and if they lived in certain states, their mayor, depending on the politics they participated in, they wouldn't allow them to open. And then when they did open, because they're business people, who do you think they vote for? Wouldn't it be pretty weird, Smoke, for you to be a business owner who says, fuck Donald Trump, fuck what's happening with police brutality, some crazy shit. Yo, man, change gotta happen, and your shit burned in the process, and you're pissed that your business got burnt? What are we talking about?
That's crazy.
We talking about change, right? We talking about progress, right? We talking about reform. And you talking about your store. Now, wouldn't it make better sense? And I know, somebody gonna be like, that's not true because, I was pissed that my shit got burned down, and I don't fuck with Trump. You know what I would ask that person?
Yeah.
I would be like, like Trina. I would be like, who you plan on voting for then? Because I'm trying to figure it out. What side is you on? You can't sit over there and be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? This slavery shit fucked up, all this shit's fucked up, and then during the Civil War, you on the fucking southern side.
Yeah.
I still even...
People not being honest.
Exactly.
Be honest and shit. There you go. There's no honesty.
Slowly coming out and shit, and we keep on thinking, oh, it's ignorance. Just like the chick who voted for Barack 2 times. She voted for Barack 2 times and still let that black dude know in Central Park, I will call and say, there's a nigger threatening me in the fucking park. And he said, go ahead. See, and the reason why I said nigger, because the only reason why she said African American, because that's what the current term is. She would have said, bro. It's like color. Nigger. She would have said nigger. So it's like, it don't matter. Just So she voted for Barack twice. So, you know what I'm saying? So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? We're dealing with overt racism. Racism. That's it. Go ahead, Smoke.
I was just laughing at that shit. But this shit crazy out here, man. we gotta straighten our ship off, man. For real, we gotta plug all the holes in the ship and really begin to get the shit sailing correctly, because there's too much fuck shit going on out here with our people.
And I say time up.
Getting lost in the sauce.
And I say time up. I don't say when I was young, it used to be, yo, man, we got to get our shit together, man. The time is now. You know what I'm saying? One of these. Me, I say time's up, yo. Fuck that. I don't even see a pulse. I don't even feel a pulse on Black America. Don't get none of this. Don't get none of this shit twisted. Yeah, there's no pulse. And you know what's funny? I ain't even listened to the video, right? But I just read the title. But on Vlad TV, BG Knockout, the title says he was involved in the LA uprising. Yeah, in the LA uprising, and was like, this shit right here feel like it was infiltrated. And I'm like, I'm watching this shit on TV, and I'm like, this shit look bogus as fuck. This is the most weird.
I agree with him, because I watched some of the. I was trying to watch it, the LA '92 that joined on Netflix.
Right.
Like I was watching CNN with all that shit going on, and then I turned it on to that. Like, hold on, let me go back to it. But I was talking a lot of it. But as a lot of the scenes that I kept catching, I'm like, yo, this is something different happening today, because they literally people jumping over people to go in the stores looting, people burning shit down. It's looking like they stretching people out. They stretching people out.
No, not even that. Number one shit that you missed. Let you know the difference. They went up against the police. They went up against the police. Think about that. They went. Don't look at the LA riots. Don't look at the LA shit. Look at the Selma fucking bridge protest. When the fucking cops ran over these black people with their bodies. They literally with their bodies ran them down. You know what I'm saying? Look at any protest. Look at apartheid protests in Soweto. Look at any protest. Look at riots. Look at Khalid Muhammad with the Million Youth March. Look at protests. And then look at this bullshit here. You will always see the people clash with police. You will. What the fuck, Smoke, is the point of having all that energy, all that rage, burning buildings, looting stores, right? But running when the police come? What's this?
No, bro.
That makes no fucking sense. Like right now, you outside in the streets, you got beef with somebody, and you take your shirt off, and you yelling, you kick the fucking car, and you throwing bottles and trash cans and screaming and cursing them out and all them everything. And then when he comes downstairs, you want to try to call him. What the fuck was that? What was that? You see what I'm saying? That's when I said, this is weird. Then I started paying attention to that other group. I'm like, yo, I've never heard the news reporting ever. If I'm wrong, I'm not above being selective. I've never seen the news reporters praise protesters. I've never seen that before. I've never heard saying, oh my God, it's so great what the protesters is doing. You know, the peaceful protesters, not the looters. And every time I hear that, I'm like, the peaceful protesters, not the looters. There's no such thing as peaceful protesters. There's no such thing as
they separated the shit.
They separated the fuck
into like different factions.
Yeah, because they know we can control the peaceful ones. The mayhem, we can't control mayhem. We can't control the rage. We can't control that spirit. So what we're going to do is we're going to criminalize the spirit into and vilify the spirit, right? Not criminalize it. Somebody like the shit that's being done is already criminal, but we're going to vilify it, and we're going to make that energy the bad guy, and we're going to praise peaceful energy, and that way we're going to encourage people to be more peaceful and discourage any rage. And they did it successfully. The third group there that solely was there to police the crowd, within the crowd. And that was amazing. No shit like I saw Mandela when Mandela came to New York. I was a child. You know what I'm saying? I probably was like 4 or 5 some shit. And I'm sitting over here and shit, and I'm like, wow, I've never seen that. I've never seen groups and organizations where somebody can just automatically say, all right, guys, now let's move down this block here. And the whole crowd just go to the person they never met before and just walk. I've never seen no walking dead and shit like that before. And then every time, rally. I mean, right, no, I'm talking about even if it's at a rally. I've never seen that. Because people are going to question, they're going to say, who is that? Who is that? Because even the crowd, they kept saying, for what? Why are we moving? We here. And then they were getting arguments with the people. I'm like, why is a protester arguing with a protester? That makes no sense. Why is a protester arguing against a protester? Like, that makes no fucking sense. My group is here standing in front of police, and you are blocking me and the police, and you're telling me how I should leave because you don't want me to get hurt by the police. Who the fuck are you? Who are you? You know what I'm saying? And then those people are brawling. These people are muscular. They look like they work out. You know what I'm saying? These are all agents. They're all agents. And now they just hijacked the whole protest movement. So the protesting shit is dead. That shit is dead. Right. Every time we see protesting now, we need to pay attention and see how it's handled from now on. This shit's dead. They just figured out how to control the protest. And they got it. Yeah.
Put their agents on the inside. Keep it from getting violent.
They snapping pictures of everybody fucking face and all kind of shit like that, and the crowds and all kind of shit. Yeah, the protesting is a wrap. 2020, and I said that, Smoke. I didn't say it in specifics, but I did say back in like 2018, I said, yo, nobody talking about 2020 yet, right? I said, wait until 2019, everybody gonna be talking about 2020. I said, yo, 2020, some shit gonna happen in 2020. What? I don't know. But 2020 is a complete generation. We count 19 to 2020, yeah.
Ain't lying about that shit.
You know what I'm saying? And now we see it. We got the corona shit. We got this whole the restructuring of America going on with Trump. That's why Trump is going to get a second term. He's in the middle of restructuring America. We think we're going to sit over here and bugging. You understand how this game go. You bugging. So now we got the other races now, Smoke. They feeling themselves. The Latinos, they feeling themselves hard body. Feeling themselves hard. You know what I'm saying? Them Asians feeling themselves super hard. Super hard they feeling themselves. They out there globally swinging their dicks. You know what I'm saying? They out there globally swinging dick. The Latinos and shit, they out here flexing their muscles at the blacks and shit. The whites, they're powerless. what we see the whites is doing is something that the blacks should be doing. Since we like to follow white people, we should be doing the same thing that whites. White people is restructuring. They're restructuring. They talking about all that coronavirus, right? Smoke. Did they stop their opioid problem?
No.
And that's some shit. They don't even mention that opioid shit. They got the media. They control their narrative. What white people, what they're doing right now, they're rebuilding their race. The same shit black people should be doing. That's why Trump.
That's what we need.
That's what we need. That's why Trump shut the border down. That's why he beefed up the military shit, pulled out money from the World Health Organization, all that shit. Why? Because there's no way America is going to be able to last another 100 years if they keep pushing. Nah, you got to fall back, yo. You got to put this car in the shop. Yeah, but yo, everybody else going to be driving past me. Yeah, you're right. They're going to be driving past you. But guess what? Your shit about to collapse. Your shit about to collapse. So that's what's happening in real life. And the only people that's not figuring that out is black people. So we're sitting around over here thinking we're fighting a fucking battle when we're not fighting a battle. We're fighting the byproduct of not having an economy. We're fighting the byproduct. Because look at it. George Floyd get a knee put to his neck, and this cracker murders this brother. Right? Look how fast they want to pass criminal. They want to pass police reform is on the table and all kind of shit. Right? But Eric Garner got.
I saw that.
Yeah, but Eric Garner got choked the fuck out. And the chokehold was off the books. You can't. That was already on the books. I meant not off, but already on the books saying you can't do that.
It was illegal. It was illegal chokehold.
So Amadou Diallo got shot 42 times or some shit. One bullet underneath his foot.
You know, he's down.
Yeah, so the whole point of me saying this is to say this. Police reform? Police reform, that's policy. That's legislation. That could have always got passed. It didn't take George Floyd to get police reform passed. Real talk, Smoke, it should have really took, if you want to put a name behind a murder, that should have pushed police reform.
Sean Bell.
No, not Sean Bell. Even though, yes, Sean Bell. But no, I wasn't even thinking Sean
all
Bell.
of them, but
yeah, we know.
What do you think about?
Tamir Rice.
Yeah, he's a baby.
A child gunned down by the fucking police.
Baby.
You telling me that couldn't get police reform with a black president?
That's crazy because I was just talking to Charlie about that, and she was just saying how that was like the worst one. And when I thought about it, during that conversation, you think about the tape, how they showed a cop, and he hopped out gangland style and just shot a baby. Like, that shit is crazy. You're right. You're right. Damn.
The justification was, I think we was gunning down a 12-year-old. I thought we was gunning down a 21-year-old. Like, what? The fuck is that? So, you know what I'm saying? So at the same time, you're telling me the police gunning down a child. Police reform That wasn't even a thought. Police gunning down Mike Brown, a child. That wasn't even a thought. Police slamming the little 15-year-old girl at that pool party.
Right.
We're talking. I'm not even talking right. We're talking child. We're talking the police in the school slamming the girl because she didn't get up out of her desk or some shit like that. So he fucking.
Yeah, that was fucking on.
Yeah, we talking about what they doing to the children. So this shit was done under black president, Democratic House, Democratic Senate. And you telling me legislation could not have gotten passed? Legislation could have been gotten passed. The shit that everybody's marching for is a dream. That's it. A dream. That's what everybody's marching for. They're not marching for a problem. Because when you march for a problem, then you're looking for a solution.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
You don't know what you out there doing. Like a lot of with the you saw with a lot of the like groups and people. It's like we just don't like, especially when it comes to the protests and shit. We didn't really know what we was doing, man. It's just like, yo, just show up out there. There's no plan of action or anything to it. People get mad because some people, like I seen they had YG shooting a video. He was shooting a video out there, some shit like that, one of the protests and shit. And like I saw another person that followed him, they was complaining about that. But it's just like, you know, what I mean, we don't know what we doing. We just out there all well, we know what we doing, but
you're not supposed to complain if the fucking artist want to do a video in the middle of a protest. Who gives a fuck? See, when you get issues like that, that's another testament again of lack of an economy. Because if you have an economy, right, and you have your people now making a video, guess what that video is about? Big booty holes? What was the video about that YG was shooting in the middle of the protest? Yeah, right. It's a protest song.
Yeah.
If it's a fucking protest song, why wouldn't I make a video in the middle of the fucking protest? Like, you get what I'm saying? The shit makes no sense. So you're arguing about me about what exactly? You see what I'm saying? Like, what exactly? I can understand if the video is about me killing another black man, and it just so happened in my song I'm talking about, and I'm shooting this nigga as he running through the protest. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, black running through the protest and shit, and while you shooting at her, and it's like, what kind of tacky ass shit is that? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
You're like, damn, gee, that's some shit. You know what I'm saying? But yo, he got a song, a protest or a song where he's speaking out in the way he do. You know, I'm not no YG fan like that. And the issue is him filming a protest. It's like this stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? It's stupid shit. Why? Because deep down, we all know this shit is about economy. That's what it's all about. We're like an abused woman getting her ass kicked by her man, which is the white man. The big bad white man. Kicks our ass, right? Fucks us up. Blacks our eye. Bloody our lip. And then somebody else like, yo, man, you got to get out of there, y'all. This motherfucker's going to kill you. You got to get out of there. And you don't see nothing within yourself. And because you don't see nothing within yourself, you can't see life without the abuse, without the violence, without mistreatment, without the heartache and pain. You can't see life without that. You start to believe that you need. So you know what I'm saying? Look, another example of smoke. When you see people in coming out the same fucking ghetto, right? Like niggas coming out multi-millionaires though, right? And you like, damn, this small town and who gives a fuck, Alabama? You know what I'm saying? And but they all produce some of the best wide receivers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you like, yo, why they don't got better equipment here? Why they don't got a way of living here? You know what I'm saying? Why the poverty level so low and if it's bringing so much greatness? And what nobody tells you in real life, what people saying behind the scenes, they attribute the condition to the talent.
Nah, I got you. So they need that condition.
They need that in order to toughen them niggas up. They need that. Let me tell you, I ran so fast. Them police out there, if they catch you, they'll beat your ass. So you learn to run fast as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Funny, but it's literally that's what's happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like I know I'm laughing, but this shit, that's what's happening. Yo, it's crazy.
Yeah. And then these politics, aldermen, these councilmen, and shit like, they don't look out for the blacks. They don't look out. We would literally smoke. We would literally read smoke. Articles where Latinos is telling their story. You pointed that out last week with the Latin King story. While I'm reading the story, like, wait a minute, hold on. Who wrote that? And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And who wrote it? A Latino person wrote that. And again, just like I say, I don't want nobody of no other race or group outside of black to think, oh, this program is hating on somebody else's. No. When I'm talking shit about anybody who's not black, I'm talking shit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also highlighting to black people. This is why you don't, and this is why they do. This is why you can't, and this is why you can. Because the people who have power likes to tell us it's because of racism. Racism. See, racism is what's going to be said when them Latinos start being on some fuck shit with black people in Chicago when it's time to get food to feed their kids. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
They look at the racism. No, it's not racism. Them Latinos pissed because of the looting and because y'all lick shots when they try to stand up for themselves. We ain't talking right, we ain't talking wrong. We're just talking their side of the story. Black people stood up when they felt like, oh, y'all Latinos going to start targeting blacks? Oh, let me show you something. They ain't saying what's right, what's wrong, we're just saying what it is. Now, what happened is when you flex your muscle black and the Latino flex his muscle black, then the Latino says, now I'm going to flex my economic muscle. And economics is the study of an economy. So the economics, the money, that's part of his economy. And then black people turn around and we don't have no muscle when it comes to economic. We don't have no muscle.
Yeah,
when it comes
I control your comfortability. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I control your stomach.
And guess what?
You eat over here.
So what's more important, the product that you have or the money that I have?
Yeah, how long before you fold, basically?
Exactly.
How long before you fold? You do all that shit talking you want. You gotta come over there and eat.
You still gotta come over.
You fold. And when you fold, that's when we're gonna have a field day with you.
Yeah.
As soon as you fold, we're gonna have a field day with you.
Because guess what I'm gonna say?
Hard.
You know what I'm gonna say? No black man can come in here, just a black woman.
Yep.
Just a black woman. She better talk nice.
Come over here,
Nope.
mommy. I got something for you.
You see what I'm saying? Like now we're put in these positions now. Why? No economy. So that lets you know that $1 trillion that we spend a year don't mean a motherfucking thing if we can't turn the gun. Nah, let me not use that as a gun analogy. If we can't, if we can't read the guns into our pocket, you know what I'm saying? If we can't do that, then we could spend a fucking quadrillion we could spend $1,000 a year. It don't matter. We don't have shit. Now, if we have an economy and the Latinos said, oh, and you blacks, we'll see. Don't come around here because y'all ain't going to be able to come over here with none of y'all food, none of that. See, when he made that comment, you know what that told me, Smoke? They already planned that. I was just
going to say, like, you ain't going to fucking say that without knowing that your next one-up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You said it right there. You're not going to say that without knowing that. You know that, which is why you felt empowered to say that. That's well known and established. And if that Latino know that Asian know that Indian know that Arab know that.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking black America. I'm talking black globally. I'm talking you blacks in the islands who economy is dominated by foreigners. I'm talking about you blacks in Africa. I don't know which our economy is dominated, and I don't want to generalize and stereotype. But I'm talking about everywhere black people, where there's oppression, there's a weak economy. I guarantee it. Where there is oppression, where there is poverty, there is a weak economy. God is not going to save you. Your Orisha is not going to save you. Your candles, your crystals, none of that shit going to save you. What's going to save you is what makes the world go round. Trading and bartering. And we have to go back to dominating. We have to stop, yo. We have to stop. Because we keep worrying about this fucking weak-ass white fucking people and shit like that when there is multiple other races. Once we beat Glass Joe, which is if we're talking about Punch-Out, now we got the other races that we have to fight too. But we keep on fighting. Yeah, we keep fighting Glass Joe and then cutting the game off, then cutting the game back on and fighting Glass Joe thinking, kick Glass Joe back. More fucking players, man. Come on, more players.
But what I was gonna say, this time period of like the coronavirus and like people being on lockdown and things like that, should really show like in real time the importance of that. Being able to barter and trade and having other economies that's based outside of the mainstream economy. We just came out of that period of time of people wanting to sell their products and shit like that because they're not working or really getting into it. I got a homie right now. He's launching off his T-shirt shit. You know, while he was working, he wasn't doing it as much or wasn't getting as much sales. Because he worked in the school system. So now as soon as that was on pause, now he's doing his T-shirts and it's like, he getting good business, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if he ain't have that probably would be like, that's less money he's going to have for himself, basically, you know what I'm saying, for his family. So it's like, during this time, it's just like, jobs are just taken away, snatched away from you, and then you don't have another means of bringing money in. And then when you look at our community, you don't have anybody that's able to provide that to you, to say, all right, well, we got jobs over here, we got this and that, you can make some extra money over here. We don't got that. You all got to depend on people that don't look like them. And they're hunkering down, so they're not giving no extra jobs. They're cutting jobs also. But guess who the last that's going to get it? We the first to lose a job and the last ones that's going to get some jobs. So it's like, if we're not controlling we're not controlling the fact that we giving out jobs, like we have to control that part. But we give it out. But until we have an economic base, we're not going to do that. And so, like, we don't know how these economic conditions happen. I mean, in this case, it was a pandemic. You know what I mean? Like global sickness. The next time it could be a recession. You know what I'm saying? The next time it could be whatever. You know what I mean? A natural disaster or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But even without those things, it's like we still dependent on it. And it's like, damn, we should really see that, the importance of it. Because if we really were starved out by white people, we'd be fucked up. If they really starved us out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We go to the hospitals that's owned by them. We go to the supermarkets owned by them. Everything that we need is owned by them. There's only a small percentage of people that can really say they deal outside of the white economy when it comes to black people. Most of us gotta deal with every single factor of our life. It's ran through people that will. If you ask a person, they'll say, you know, white people are oppressing us, but every facet of your life is controlled by them.
Yeah.
At some point, we gotta see our fault in that.
Yeah, and to change that, if you say white people is oppressing, then that you just told me what the problem is. So now, what's the solution? See, now if you're a woman, and this might be sexist or whatever, but it is what it is. If you're a woman and you say white people is oppressing us, and you happy with that, then I get it, because y'all like to talk about how y'all feel. But if you're a man and you telling me that, white people is oppressing us, and that's that, I'm like, okay, they are. What the fuck is their solution? You know what I'm saying? But before, we got 17 more minutes on the clock. Before we leave, though, let's get this call in. Caller, what's your name?
Yes, Pianki. What's going on, man?
There we go. What's going on, Pianki?
I've seen these times before, and I've seen when incidents like this begin to open up avenues into business opportunities, and they are coming in. Well, people have to be ready to take advantage of them. I heard that Walmart's, Walgreens, Macy's is going to open up shelf space. Remember I used to tell you, brother, what's your name when I first came on?
Rasta.
Well, you remember I used to tell you that affirmative action is when you go to a Walmart and say you want 15% of your shelf space where we can display our goods and products that you manufacture.
Right.
Well, that's what they're doing, especially for hair care products. And I think there's about 20 black females that's producing hair care products, including the one brother, Rich Rochelle, from out of Liberia, I believe it is. And he was doing sundial products, and he was doing another brand of black hair care products. The recipe he got from his grandmother. I just had another friend of mine, a business partner. He's Nigerian. And HP, Hewlett Packard, and Dell Technologies, who he partnered with, he's authorized to purchase, resell, or sublease their products. Mm-hmm. They have just now doubled at least the amount that he was doing, last year, all around these incidents. So these opportunities out there, and they come about, but people got to be in a position where they can take advantage of. And I tell you something that's needed. They need to have flight simulators, schools, or should I say training, where you have about 20 flight simulators. You can bring young people in and start at high school age and start preparing them for those 400,000 jobs that the Bureau of Labor Statistics said there's going to be that many shortage of commercial pilots, and the military said they're going to have a shortage of about 12,000. Did y'all know that some of the top test pilots for the U.S. Air Force is black?
Oh no,
I didn't know that.
It's flying the Raptor, the F-22, the Raptor.
No, I ain't
Yes,
know that.
they are. One name is Lopez, the other brother name is Naz. I can't tell you they full name, but you can go on YouTube and you can see them. So the opportunity, the doors is open, and we can kick the door open, but you ain't got nobody that can go in there and take advantage of what's being out there on display. That's a whole nother thing.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
And I've seen this before. Mhm.
Now go ahead.
What was you
Come
gonna
on, y'all got any questions?
No, so what I was
No,
gonna say.
you said you seen it before. I was just gonna
Yeah, I've
continue on
seen it
with
in
that.
'67 Chicago rides. I don't
Right.
live out West Coast during the LA rides, but the Chicago rides in '67, and of course the rides around Martin Luther King death. So yeah, those things opened up in '67, '68, and people felt guilty. Therefore, they done what they did. Affirmative action with Arthur Fletcher. Arthur Fletcher was the writer of affirmative action. He copied the Philadelphia plan. He was in Chicago to go after the labor unions and Richard Daley, and labor unions they was gonna rough him up. Him and his wife was in a hotel, and they put the furniture up against the door. And some way or another, word got to Richard Nixon, and Richard Nixon called up Daley and said, "If you harm one hair on that black man's head, I'll have the 82nd Airborne marching down Michigan Avenue come Monday morning." So, hey, these things do come into fruition.
Yeah.
I can name
But
a lot.
That's a good point. That's a good
But
point.
I
I just saw the
go ahead.
Walgreens, a couple other places. They were like loosening up on the hair care products, like how they lock them up for the black customers. Like during this whole thing, they before they have it like in the plastic cases with the alarms or whatever, they supposed to be taking all that stuff out of the stores and shit. So when he's pointing to the sympathy, you see it already. And so being in a position to take advantage of it, that's a good point.
Mhm. A lot of things out there that's gonna pop through, and you need to get your children educated. Unfortunately, these young people that's out there riding and looting, they really not gonna receive the benefit of it. The ones that's gonna receive the benefit of it, well, the ones that's in school and college, and they coming out with those skills.
Right.
Same thing happened during the riots in the past. The people that was out there marching and burning down stuff, they didn't benefit from it. It was people who was in school and doing this, that, and other. So things happen. Nobody know why all the time. Nobody know when it's going to be, but things happen. You just got to be ready. Anyway, I'll let you guys get back to your conversation. Mm-hmm.
All right, appreciate it.
All right.
Appreciate it. Appreciate that.
Enjoy your night. Yeah, it's always good. Like I said, always good to hear from the brother. But one thing I do want to expound upon also is you have to be ready. That's the most important thing. You have to be ready, and that's what we don't really get because you don't want to wait until it comes, and then it's like, well, what do we do? Or you become that person that's sitting around saying how it's never going to happen when you don't even know that it already happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to be prepared for this shit. But also to emphasize, we're not talking about everybody. We're not saying, oh, everybody have to come together. Oh, we need unity amongst everybody. No. We talking about the people who can. The ones who can. That and want to. The one who willing to put that energy and time out there, put that money out there. We're not talking about the people who can't. We're not talking about the person who don't have the dream and the vision or don't have the drive. You see what I'm saying? Because everything ain't for everybody. Some of y'all just are supposed to just be workers and take care of your family correctly so those children could be stronger and better than you and move forward into a stronger space within this black timeline we're trying to create, black legacy. You know what I'm saying? With that's your role into the game. Then there's some of us whose role is to push buttons. Some of our role is to create, and this is what we have to start to look at, black people, not just businesses. We have to look at industry. We can't sit there and say, why are black people disproportionately affected by low-income housing? And then when we do get to live in low-income housing, it's all raggedy and ran down with inferior paint, with lead, or, things of this nature. You know why this happened? Because we don't have control over the black housing industry. You see what I'm saying, Smoke? And one day we got to realize that. Yeah, we don't have control over our industries. We don't sit there and say, hey, you know what, let's have control over our food. No, but what we do, Smoke, we will talk about how there's food deserts. There's food deserts in the black community, and how but we don't say, all right, well, how do we solve that problem? We sit there and we talk about the education in our community and how bad the education is in the black community, how bad the education is in the black community. But what we don't realize is the government pays and allocates funding and money to these schools. We can fight for more funding from the government, or from our state government, I should say, for our schools. The other portion of that money comes from the black business. That's the part we don't get. The other part comes from the black business. So when the black business and the government, the state government, is funding the school system, guess what? Your schools is on par with everybody else. When you have your grocery stores, you're not worrying about getting subpar food. You're not worrying about getting followed around. You're not dealing with that no more. When you have your own communities and your towns and stuff, and you have these businesses and these industries that you have control over, that means the politicians in there, that they pay, and they have politicians, not the politicians, the business community in there. They pay the politicians to push laws that helps with their business to get more money, tax write-offs maybe, expand, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But these businesses will have these politicians who will now fight for the people, because guess what? The people who vote to put them into power, money is behind this community. It's not just the black community. It's the black community that got money behind it. Then guess what? Your police commissioner works for that community. Your lieutenant works for that community. Your sheriff works for that community. The DA works for that community. The prosecutors work for that community. And then you know what ended up happening, Smoke? Remember the story that we read last week about the Lion Kings? And they had the police chief, either chief or lieutenant chief, and he's out there speaking. And he's the mouthpiece for the damn community.
Yeah.
He's out here talking, saying this is what they said. They said they was out here protecting their community. This is what they said.
The voice for the people. that look like them.
That look
So
like
it's
them.
these, if we paying attention, we should just see a lot of shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Because what black official came out and spoke for black people and what they was doing. Nobody like just pay attention. It's like we gotta pay attention, man. We gotta pay attention.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Was it a black police chief somewhere saying something? You know what I'm saying? Like people that matter now. Like the people that matter, you know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, huh? We getting wagged around like, you know what I'm saying? It's the tail wagging the dog. You know what I'm saying? And we just get wagged around for everybody and they agendas. And our agenda is not getting fulfilled. You see what's happening with the Latinos. We was there for the Latinos. We was
Black
there
and brown.
We was talking that Trump built that wall. Who was down there? We was there.
Black and brown.
Look how they doing us. Look
Black
how the
and
officials is doing. Those people are officials. Look at the Chinaman. Chinaman stood guard over the white man while he put that foot on our brother. He was right there, son. Look at all of these people that's involved. Look who complicit. We worrying about the fucking celebrities who not talking. Just pay attention to who talking. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to that. That's really what we got to do, man. We got to be serious about what the hell, what's going on with us and shit. There's a lot of goofy shit going on, and we not paying attention to it. Pay attention.
And all of that is because, once again, the talking heads, they turning around and they're saying, let me go to that Booker T. Washington quote. Go to my man's quote. Yeah, I had lost my image. So go to quotes where he says, and I quote, "There is a class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. The problems, not the solutions. They want to keep the troubles, the wrongs, the hardships of us in the public. That's why everybody, when they see black people, it's always, here go these old begging ass niggas. Here come these old downtrodden ass niggas. Here goes those woe is me ass niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because every time you see us, everything is about pity. You know what I'm saying? Having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles, they have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want to lose his grievances because he does not want to lose his income. For black people, we got to do better. We got to start thinking legacy, and we got to start thinking race first. Straight the fuck up. We got to start moving and thinking race first. Like the Latinos and everybody else. They'll tell you in a minute, La Raza. You Google what La Raza means and figure out why you don't follow the same code. You want to close out, Small? You got anything you got to say?
Wising up, black people. It's all in front of us, you got to slow down and pay attention, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the answers is happening right now in this current time of Donald Trump and the MAGA shit. It ain't just that. Pay attention, you know what I'm saying? So, if anything you want to take away from that, is that.
Yeah.
Protect your neck, man.
Protect that shit, because at the end of the day, hey, ain't no games. And the good thing about Donald Trump, like I'll keep saying, Donald Trump ain't no excuse for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the best president black people could have. Why? Because ain't no games, ain't no lies. What you see is what the fuck it is. Ain't no games, ain't no lying. So we see the game, we know the rules, we know what time it is, now it's time to do. I'm not listening to them coward ass blacks who want a Democrat back in office so they can go back to good old fashioned covert racism where they can be patted on their head and called a good nigga and be like, oh, thank you. Could you not say nigger? Can you say nigga with the GA? Thank you. Thank you, liberal white. All right, but until then, man, we'll see y'all next week. All right, peace.
808 Mafia.